Hi everyone, it's Steven Schleicher from MajorSpoilers.com. If you've been paying attention to our Critical Hit episodes and are up to date, you may have noticed in the play-by-move pictures that we include in many of the episodes, these little pawns showing up. Now, why are we using pawns? Well, if you're having a Buick of goblins attacking you, then you want to be able to keep track of them, especially keep them separated, especially if you're limited in the number of goblin minifigs that you have, and you really don't want to mix up and have a lot of the same goblins attacking, because for us, where we have players playing at a distance, or for people around the table who may not always be paying attention, it can become very confusing for everyone to figure out whether it's this goblin or that goblin that's been bloodied. So there are other things that you can use. Obviously, you can use dice, but that only gives you 6 per group. If you want to try more than that, then you're going to have to look elsewhere. And for us, we found these little 3D printed pawns that work great for us. How did we get these? Let's take the journey and find out. The first place that we go to is Thingiverse.com. Thingiverse is a repository for 3D models that people have created that you can download and print out on your 3D printer. Now, there are a number of pawns already out there, but I like to keep it simple, and I found this one that works perfect for us. You can see it's just as a little circular disc with a little flag and a number on it, and it's going to be perfect for the gaming sessions that we have coming up. Once we have found the model, we can open it in MakerBot. MakerBot is the software that slices up the model and prepares it for printing on the MakerBot Replicator 2, which is the printer that I have. From there, we can decide whether we want to have a highly detailed piece or whether we want something that's relatively low detail. For these pawns, we don't need something that's highly detailed, so using a 0.2 millimeter thickness, or about the thickness of 2 sheets of paper for each layer that's built up with these, works fine. We then export the model onto a SD card and put it into our printer for printing. Once the printing's done, it's time to do the cleanup. Now, I printed these on rafts, and I use rafts a lot because it helps keep the model in place and prevents it from breaking off or sliding around. So the first thing is to break the raft off, and usually this is a pretty simple step. Sometimes it can be a little complicated, so that's where using a putty knife and some good old-fashioned elbow grease comes in handy. Now, this particular print has a lot of stray hairs, is what I call them, little pieces of PLA filament that have come off during the printing process. It doesn't affect the model at all. Sometimes they're really kind of pretty. But to clean these off, it's very simple. All you have to do, for me a lot of times, is just use a finger or a fingernail to scrape these off, and they come off very quickly. If you have some areas that are particularly difficult, that's when I can get out an X-Acto knife and go to town. Now that the pawns have been cleaned up, you can still see the numbers, but it's really kind of hard. And for people watching on a webcam or someone who's hard of seeing, these are going to be rather difficult. The solution? I just went to my hobby store and got a paint pen and just colored in the numbers. Again, these don't have to be perfect. These are just for fun, for playing around the gaming table, so a little slippage here and there is fine. But you can see that, in this case, black works great against the neon pink. Once that's done and once they're dry, it's ready to go into the gaming session. So there you have it. Now we have another group of 9 pawns that can attack our characters in the future. I hope you enjoyed this look at 3D printing and especially how we can create 3D prints for our role-playing games. If you have any questions, send them to podcast@MajorSpoilers.com. And if you would, subscribe to our YouTube channel. You're going to find that we have other 3D builds coming up, all with a pop culture twist. You can find our Lego builds, you can find our unboxings of toys and a whole bunch of other stuff. And if you're new to Major Spoilers, be sure to visit our website, MajorSpoilers.com, where we cover all sorts of things in the pop culture industry, from comic books, movies, TVs, and role-playing games. You can follow us on Twitter @MajorSpoilers, and we hope you come back real soon. Take care.